Hey y'all, it's Necey Dixon. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, y'all, welcome back. Clack, clack. All right, so this is probably the first time since the episode first aired that I'm coming to y'all on a Thursday to talk about Married at First Sight. Married at First Sight. Um, we're gonna get into it, okay? I hope y'all enjoy the title of this video. Don't be a Mitch or a Justin. I don't know if I put or a Justin on there, but seriously, y'all, don't be a Mitch or a Justin. Today I'm drinking some bread and butter wine. I got it from Target. It's everything, some Pinot, okay? And I'm glad that I'm coming to y'all after 5 so I can actually have my drink. So hey Mina, hey Miss B. Yeah. Y'all, without further ado, I guess we could go ahead and get into the video. I am going to start out real light. Real light. And wait, let me not get carried away, y'all. I just started a new texting feature. So if some of y'all aren't getting notifications whenever I get ready to go live, check my community wall. I'll add it to I'll add it to my description box. But if you're new here, of course, turn your notification bells. But if that doesn't work, sign up for my texting community. Okay, I'll add it to the description. But anyway, y'all, we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna start out. Let me start out talking about Morgan and Binh. We're gonna start out light before I start talking about. Y'all know who y'all came here for. I don't know. Y'all have to tell me. Did you come here for Mitch or did you come here for Justin? Okay, quite frankly, I feel like we could talk about both of them fools. And with Mitch, I have to tell y'all, I told you so. But okay, we're going to start talking about Morgan and Binh. So this is the late bloomer couple. Y'all, it was a trip to me whenever they were on that boat. I'm jumping ahead. But it was a trip to me whenever they were on that boat. And Alexis, who's with Justin, Alexis, let me show y'all a picture to refresh y'all's mind. Alexis ends up saying to Morgan, "Oh, y'all are so fresh." And I was like, "Girl, if you don't hush, you've been knowing this man for all of 3 days. You've been knowing your husband for all of 3 days, but Binh and Morgan are fresh." I'm like, "Girl, that's cute. That's funny." All right. So Morgan and Binh, y'all, we're going to take it back to their wedding day. And at this point, they've gotten married. They seem to be getting along really well. At this point, to me, it feels like they're getting along like friends. And y'all, Binh keeps talking about how close he is to his mom. He's a mama's boy. I just stopped myself from saying ain't nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it is, okay? As much as he talks about his mom. He said that his biggest fear was that his mom wasn't going to like his wife. And I was like, what is the mom going to say? The mom seemed to be a pretty decent woman. So Binh's parents, they're having a conversation with Morgan. This is during the reception. And they end up asking her, all I need to know from you is how many kids, how many grandkids do we have to prepare for? And she says, I have a lot of things that I want to get done before I have kids. Now, on the other side of things, we see Binh talking to Morgan's friends. And when Binh is talking to Morgan's friends, that's whenever he finds out that Morgan isn't just necessarily excited to have kids. Morgan doesn't have to have kids. But she says that if she meets the right person, she might think about it. So Binh definitely wants kids. That's something that they haven't talked about. And they always do this on Married at First Sight, y'all. I don't think that it's a big deal. Honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with her saying that she doesn't know if she want to have kids unless she's with the right person. Honestly, a lot of people should think that way. A lot of people should think that way because I feel like that makes or breaks your experience as a parent. And then ultimately it makes or breaks the next generation, which is why some of y'all kids be, I ain't gonna say too much, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think Morgan is saying that she does not want to have kids. I think Morgan wants to make sure that the foundation of her family is going to be legit before she decides to have kids. Because you have to think at the same time, she told us that she didn't really have a relationship with her dad. Yes, Monique, everybody should think that way. Okay. She don't really have a relationship with her dad. So that's one thing that I really do appreciate about people who haven't had the best relationships with their parents. A lot of times they start considering what they want their families to be like before they decide to have kids. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're not with the right person, don't reproduce. Okay. So another thing that Morgan's friends end up asking Binh about is, how do you feel about, laying up, having sex on a wedding night? And he says, I'll let Morgan take the lead. It's just, up to her. Whatever happens. Whatever happens, happens. And they're like, do you feel that way about the entire process? And he's like, yeah, I'll let her take the lead. He's saying what all the men should say. So y'all, finally, Morgan and Binh take it to the bedroom. They go to sleep and they cuddle. They're laughing, they're making jokes, but I don't think they're gonna have sex, and they don't. So the next morning is Ben's birthday. I'm like, all this happened in perfect timing for Binh, because this man was sick, got over it, got married, and now it's his birthday, and she made him cupcakes, which he really appreciated. There's no sex, really just jokes, and it ain't nothing wrong with that. So I'll get to the group situation at the end. I'll get to the group situation at the end. So the next couple that I think we should talk about is Stacia and Nate, which they got the thumbnail credit on the last video. But let's go ahead and talk about Stacia and Nate. Y'all tell me, did I call it too early? Did I say that Nate was going to be the fuckboy too early? I mean, he hasn't done anything additional to add to his fuckboyness, but I still have a feeling that it's going to come out later on. I have a feeling it's going to come out later on, and I think I may have given him too much smoke in the beginning, but I still feel strongly. When I have a gut feeling, when I have the feeling down in my gut, I feel like I just know, okay? And I just know that something ain't right with Nate, especially when it comes to his friends. But these past two episodes, Stacia's been getting along with him really well. And the reason why she's been getting along with him really well is because it's just the two of them. Just wait until they get back in the real world. Nate also said something that I want to call out to y'all. And y'all let me know if I'm reaching. So y'all, in the episode I didn't review, which was episode 4, okay, y'all said nope, no correct amount of smoke, okay? So y'all, in episode 4, I didn't review that one. I'm gonna be consistent going forward, but y'all know they like to waste our time at the beginning, okay? My time is precious too. So in episode 4, Nate and Stacia had a whole soft corridor scene, okay? They was in the shower. We saw Stacia's tongue coming all out. They was doing the most, okay? Stacia was doing the most. Stacia said she'll bust it wide open for her husband, okay? Stacia, I ain't mad at you. But one of the things I do want to know is, Stacia, did you talk to your husband about this girl who was all in tears on the wedding day? And y'all just moved past it, or what? Because if I was Stacia, I would like to know more information about who this random girl was who talks about the walks on the beach and the game nights and everything else. So I don't know, y'all. Anyway, the next day, y'all, we find out that they didn't have sex. They didn't have sex. Stacia says that she just wants to build tension. Now, y'all let me know if I'm reaching in this moment. And I'm going to get to the excursion because I see y'all in the comments. I'm going to get to the excursion. But y'all let me know if I was reaching, and y'all let me know if y'all noticed this. When Stacia said she just wanted to wait to build up the tension for whenever they do have sex, Nate said that he wants to focus on building a friendship more than anything. And when he said that, I was like, he says this all the time, which is why his friend was up there crying, because he's the type of guy who has sex with his friends. Now, some women might think that that sounds romantic. Oh, he wants to focus on our friendship first. But when he said that to Stacia, I was like, we done heard it before, Nate. This is your go-to. I think he said, I want us to be like best friends. That's what he said. He said, I want us to be like best friends before we take it to the next level. All right, bet. That's what you usually do. So now, y'all, let's get to the excursion, because y'all seem to be hot over the excursion, as I was, okay? So they do this ATV riding thing on the excursion, and it seems like they're having fun at first. Stacia's in front, they're racing. She turns a corner, and then all of a sudden, Nate's like, hold on, we got to get some views on this. And he pulls up his phone and goes live on Instagram because he wants to show everybody that he's on TV and that he's in Mexico on Lifetime's dime. Tacky. And Stacia's like, where'd he go? What's going on? And, you know, you could tell it kind of bothered her, but she tried to laugh it off and say, oh, my Instagram husband. Peep this, Stacia. That's another sign of a fuckboy, I have to say. I said he hasn't done anything additional. That's a lie. He did that, okay? That was me trying to be nice. I need to not second guess myself, okay? He did do that additional. That was good enough. Number one, when his friend came over there crying to you, well, hold on. That's not even number one, y'all. Number one was the haircut. 0.0 was the haircut. The haircut I ain't never seen before. I ain't never seen on no barbershop wall. Give me a number 47. You made that up. He has a fade with the two braids down the middle of his head. What? So that was strike one. Strike two was whenever he was telling the stripper to get on her knees and he fed her the whipped cream, and it was just giving rogue. It was just giving too much on Lifetime's dime. Strike three was the girl at the wedding. Strike four is the ATV thing. But, you know, Stacia is moving lightly and she's letting it go. So finally, y'all, we get to the dinner scene with Stacia and Nate, and they talk about their businesses. That's where Nate opens up a little bit more about the business that he had to file bankruptcy under. Oh my gosh, y'all, I'm starting to remember. Hold up. Now I'm starting to have all these flashbacks about how I felt when I watched the show, and I'm getting excited. So Nate tells Stacia that he started a business with a friend with his personal money. They ended up having to file bankruptcy to dissolve the company. And when they dissolved the company, that's whenever he decided to move to San Diego. And Stacia says, so none of that showing up, it's not affecting you today? And listen, this man tells Stacia, no, actually it doesn't affect me. All of that stuff falls off within 6 months and it goes away. Use a motherfucking lie. Use a lie. You're a lie. For whatever reason, I thought that whenever you file bankruptcy, or at least whenever you try to apply for new loans, they always ask you, have you ever filed for bankruptcy within the past 7 years? They don't ask you about the past 6 months. If it was only 6 months, everybody and their mama will be getting business loans and opening up new businesses after failed businesses after failed businesses. It's not 6 months. And my thing is like, Stacia, you are a real estate investor. You know what the process is to get loans for homes and for businesses. So yes, y'all are saying it's 7 years. I was like, what? 6 months where? What are you talking about? And just the fact that he said that I started the business with my personal money tells me he ain't got no personal money. He ain't got no coin, Stacia. So I'm so glad that you came to him asking about a post-nup. So I'm glad your mom said that to you, because I'm still trying to figure Stacia out. I feel like Stacia was on her P's and Q's when it came to the friend Morgan at the wedding. But then you know how editing goes. We don't know if they had a conversation about it or not. I'm sure it'll come up later on. But I also want to know, like, Stacia, you let a lot of stuff slide. And I don't know if it's because you have your rose-colored lenses on right now and you know you want to have kids in a year. I just don't know. So she brings up the post-nup, right? Nandi says, I think she knows it was a lie, which is why okay, I hope so. So she ended up saying, okay, Stephanie, financial matters do not fall off your credit report in 6 months. That's no time. That's not even a fiscal year. What are you talking about? But anyway, I'm a see. Stacia seems to be a smart girl, but it's a lot of girls who are book smart, but they'll do dumb things for love. So she then asked him about the post nut. She wants to protect her assets. And he says, "Oh, come on. You don't have faith in your boy?" Fuck boy. Your boy. Now, anyway, he says, whatever makes you feel comfortable, I'll go ahead and I'll sign it. Stacia. Him saying that he gonna sign it is one thing. Him signing it is another thing. Make sure he signs that as soon as possible. Period. Okay? So next they end up talking about kids. She says that she wants kids yesterday. She wants kids in a year. Like a year from today, she wants kids. He says 365 days? He said that's kind of fast. I was thinking like 2 to 3 with the right person. And Nate, my thing is this. You said 306. I mean, she said 1 year, 365 days. You said 2 or 3. Y'all are only a year indifferent. Y'all are only a year in difference from each other. So something tells me that you're lying. You don't want kids in 2 to 3 years. You wanted to hear her number, and then you wanted to chop your number in half or in a third. And I think that's what he did. So I think he's going to do, I know he's going to do what I said he was going to do at the beginning. Why would y'all post the most mature woman with the youngest minded man? Y'all, I am so tired of this show. I'm about to start getting triggered. Because I've been talking about this shit for like 3 seasons. Why do they always do that? Why do they always do that? And he did bring up her age. He said, because of your age, when you want to have kids. Why do they always do that? Yes, she's 38. I do see her concerns. What are you doing? Pastor Cal was the one who set these up. We're going to have to talk, okay? Pastor Cal, please. I would love to interview Pastor Cal on Ooh Ladies First Panel, because every single season that we get the black fuck boys on here, I'm not saying that there's not white fuck boys. There are plenty of them. Fuck girls too. But every season that we get the black ones on here, Pastor Cal facilitates the relationship. What is going on? Okay, so y'all, we're going to move on from that to, let's start talking about Lindy and Miguel. Lindy and Miguel are cute. But y'all, the first thing that comes to mind is it just me, or do everybody know that virgin that ain't really a virgin? Everybody know the pastor's kid that will have sex as long as it's not between the legs. Am I the only one who knows people like that? I feel like I knew a lot of people like that. And the funny thing is, like, when I was in school, like middle school, high school, the most promiscuous girls, I was about to say the biggest hoes I knew, the most promiscuous girls were the ones who actually didn't have sex like that, but they did everything else. And I thought about that when I was listening to Lindy. I thought about that. So they're chilling. They have a deep conversation at the beginning. She talks about how she was engaged in college. It happened really fast. The goal was to go to college, find the man you wanted to marry. They leave college, move to Indiana, and they wanted to start their family. So once they actually started talking about things, well, not they, her fiance at the time wanted to start a family as soon as they graduated, whereas she wanted to get her master's and go to physical therapy school. So she found out that they were misaligned and they ended up breaking up. So from the ages of 23 to 29 years old, y'all keep in mind they live together and everything. This is the man who she ended up losing her virginity to. From the ages of 23 to 29, she says that she has not been in love. So for Miguel, he says that love for him is a feeling. And for Lindy, she says that love is a choice. I'm just confused. I guess you've just decided not to love people from 23 to 29, because if it's just a decision, I guess it's just something you decided on. But girl, I guess. So Miguel says there's definitely a spark there. There's definitely a spark, but I can't just decide if I love you or not. Y'all, who is this man? Who is this man? Because I spoke so highly of this man, not to say he's done anything wrong, but I spoke so highly of this man in the beginning because I thought he was soft. I thought he was so soft. I thought he was a nerd, but no, he's a regular man. His sister made it seem like he was so soft, but now he's talking about, oh no, I end relationships after 2 or 3 months and things don't feel right. Now he's talking about, oh no, I don't just fall in love easily. And your sister telling us the complete opposite. So, Miguel, are you showing us a different representative because you're trying to figure out when you want to expose your actual self to your wife? Are you treating this different than your other relationships? Because this completely does not align with what your sister told us. Your sister acted like you had to be protected. Your friends acted like you had to be protected. And from what I've been seeing, I feel like Lindy needs to be protected because what you want her to do is bust it wide open before she's ready. And if she does that, then she's going to have feelings attached to it. And she's going to be even more sad because she gave you a piece of her that she wasn't ready to give yet. Okay. So let's get to the champagne toast. They have another deep conversation. And Miguel talks about how he went through an identity crisis when he was growing up. He found out that his mom was actually schizophrenic, right? But he has a lot of compassion for her mental illness. So he moved to Puerto Rico with his dad. He looks the part. He looks Puerto Rican, but he can't speak Spanish. So that's when he had his first identity crisis, and he ended up, retreating by himself. Yes, I'm surprised with him for sure, for sure. So Lindy ends up talking about how her dad served her mom with divorce papers, and this is the other part, y'all. These two are completely different than what I thought they were going to be like based on what their family said. You have Lindy, whose family low-key sounds like they're on the verge of being in a cult. Her brother, who's telling you all these Bible things and sex, and he's very protected over his sister, makes it seem like, they are by the Bible, right? Then you have Miguel, who acts like, who his family says he's a soft nerd, but he's actually not. We already talked about that. And I still think he's a nerd, but he's not soft. But in reality, Lindy goes through a life of, not the easiest life. Even though her parents raised her in this like religious cult adjacent society, she ended up living with her boyfriend and her boyfriend's parents when she was in high school. Where do y'all do that at? Like, I don't understand. Those things are so contradictory to me. For y'all to be good Christian people, why is your daughter not living in your household and she's underage? So anyway, she talks about how, and I think Lindy has a really interesting story. I just want to know, I'm not judging the people. I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense with what y'all presented to us. And I need to know the backstory. So anyway, she lived with her boyfriend's parents when her dad divorced her mom, and she said it was a very toxic situation that she couldn't even live in. What? So finally, y'all, we see them in the next scene. They're at the pool, and we find out they haven't had sex just yet, but they're doing other things. And this goes back to what I was telling y'all in the beginning. How many of y'all knew the good old Christian girl, the preacher's kid, the teacher's kid, because that's what they be like, who was doing everything except having sex between legs? And that's exactly what they're doing. That's the vibe I'm getting. So Lindy talked about how she could potentially have a lot of religious guilt when it comes to sex. She did lose her virginity to her first fiance, so she had to deal with religious guilt when it came to that. So she doesn't want to do anything with Miguel too fast. And Miguel is basically saying he needs that the way that a man can show her that he cares for her is by giving her that, girl, give me that, girl, give me that. Hey, girl, give me that. That's what he wants. So, y'all, I think Miguel is trying to rush the process a little bit too soon. It's only been like 3 days. So I'm not even going to say a little bit too soon. I think Miguel is rushing the process, period. Okay? If Lindy wants to chill out and she wants to get to know you better, I think she has every right, because the person you're showing us is completely different than the person said that you were. And I would love to find out who the real you is before Lindy decides to have sex. So, y'all, I think we should go ahead and move on to Justin and Alexis. These two have been getting on my effing nerves. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. These two have been getting on my nerves. I didn't think that Alexis was gonna like Justin. I thought that she might have been too cute for him. But no, they actually matched on Hinge. But maybe she did think she was too cute for him, which is why she didn't respond to his Hinge. So they're super kissy. They're kissing like they didn't been together for 5 years at this point. And they end up going horseback riding. Y'all, Justin is so tall, he's on top of the horse and his feet damn near touching the sand as he's riding the horse. And Justin, to me, seems like a guy who is ridden of, or he's full of insecurities. Like everything about Justin is giving me that he's an insecure man. And I think that it's going to end up evolving in traits that's going to show pretty soon. Just based on the previews. But even outside of that, like the way Justin talking about how girls only want to mess with him because they want to see what a 6'8" Binh look like, those types of things. The way he talked about how his previous girlfriend wanted a sugar daddy when in reality he ain't had no money like that. The other thing he continues to talk about throughout this entire episode is how, you know, everything that's happening to him, he never thought could happen because it seems like something that would be in a TV show or a movie. The way that this man is romanticizing life is a bit, I feel like it should be taken with caution. He's doing a bit much. So they're horseback riding, and I'm telling y'all, he's in disbelief. And eventually they end up, you know, chilling, having a conversation after horseback riding. And she's talking about how, you know, I'm usually the one to be cool and calm, but you know, I'm just losing control. They can't even contain themselves. I'm just losing control. And she's like, I know he loves me. By the way he looks at me, I can tell he loves me. Y'all are so annoying. Very much so. And we always know what happens with the couple that falls in love too soon. They fall out real fast. And something's going to happen. So we get to dinner with Alexis and Justin, their solo dinner. And Alexis says, you're made for me and I need you. Girls, day 3. It's day 3. Justin says, I love you and I'm in love with you. And she's like, hey, it's too much for me to say it back, so I'm not gonna say it back. He ends up crying. And y'all know we ain't want to judge nobody for crying over here. But what? Alexis, I'm gonna need you to pack your bags. Because this man watches you while you're asleep. This man sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been bad or good. So be good, for goodness sake. Or that man is going to come find you. One thing that I don't think we got to find out about Justin, and I'm talking like this because the tears put me on alert. She liked it, but the tears put me on alert. So one thing that we didn't find out about Justin is how long were you with that girl before you proposed to her? I understand that, you know, the wedding got called off 2 weeks before. I understand that you really wasn't who you were supposed to be when it came to finances, but how long was you with that girl? Something must have happened to make her say, never mind. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't just the money. She just told you it was the money. So Alexis is like, are you okay? Is everything good? Y'all, I was scared for her. I'm not gonna lie. I was scared. So he says, you know, I just never thought I would do anything like this before. Everything about you, I imagine in God's creation for me, everything about you, down to everything about you is exactly what I imagined in a perfect wife. This man is drinking her bath water. This man will eat her big toe because he's so engulfed with her. Now, eventually, all of this will wear off, and Alexis will be annoyed because when she tells you that she's running to Starbucks for her morning coffee, she leaves the house at 9 and she's usually back at 9:05, but now it's 9:06. You're going to ask her for her location on iPhone. Okay? And if she's not at the Apple store and she decides to go get a donut on the way home, you're going to walk into the donut shop and you're going to be in tears. And you're going to say, why the fuck didn't you tell me you were going to the donut shop? And that's the vibes that Justin is giving. Okay, that was very specific. But that's the vibes. That's the vibe that Justin is giving. So respectfully, Alexis ends up saying, I appreciate you saying that to me, but I need to know that I love someone forever before I say that back. And he says, it's all good. It's all good. Just know that I love you. And you can say it back when you're ready. Y'all, I'm scared. I don't know about it. Girl, you better watch your bag. He's a creep. Yeah. He's a creep. Okay. So let's get into this final couple, and then we're going to get into the group meeting. So whenever we get into the final couple, let's get into Krysten and Mitch. They won the Thumbnail of the Week award. Mitch is a clown. Don't be a Mitch or Justin. But today we're going to say don't be a Mitch. I told y'all from the beginning that this man continuously used the word, oh, I'm a rebel. Oh, I can be seen as rebellious. But in all reality, y'all, a rebel is just code word for an asshole. I told y'all. When Mitch's family says he's honest, but he can be a little bit too honest, means he's an asshole. I knew it. When you haven't been able to keep a relationship, you could be an asshole. When you haven't had sex in 1.5 years, not by choice, that's because you haven't been able to break down the emotional barrier of a woman to even break down her legs, okay? Because there's something about you that's giving asshole. So let's get to it. Krysten and Mitch, they go paddleboarding. They're out in the ocean. They're in his favorite place to be. Yeah. They're in his favorite place to be because he loves the environment. And, she says, I really just appreciate your passion for your career. It doesn't bother me at all that, we couldn't pop confetti in the room to celebrate. And at this point, I think Krysten is just fishing. I think Krysten is just fishing. I think Krysten is willing to compromise. She's essentially saying, I know you can be a bit extra, but if you give me everything that I won't pop, confetti. I won't bring the plastic grocery bags home. I'll take my own reusable totes. I won't drink out of plastic water bottles as long as you can give me what I want. At this point, she still has hope for the relationship. He says, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Anything that she does, she continues to stroke his ego whenever she talks about his career. So we'll move on from that scene. The couple disperses. Hey, J-Dub. The couple disperses, and we see Mitch on the phone with his brother. And when he's on the phone with the brother, he's just like, she's a great girl. I totally see why they matched us. She has a really cool personality. She's really nice. But, there's no physical attraction. I don't understand. Y'all, are we looking? I'm not understanding. I got to look up pictures of this man. I'm sorry. And this man, he's not a bad looking man, but he's not a good looking man. And if we keep continuing to talk about looks, somebody's going to have to make it make sense. Somebody's going to have to make it make sense for me. Let me share screen. I know, I have a picture of him on the screen, but it ain't giving what I wanted to give. So let's get into this. Hold on. I think I'm covering his face. Let me get into this. Y'all, Does this look like a man that can tear a woman apart? I mean, maybe he's not tearing her apart with his words, but with his actions, yes. And some of y'all are gonna say, "Oh, he's not really tearing her apart. At least he was being nice about it." And I gotta say, you're delusional if that's what you think. This man has mentioned from day one that he was not attracted to her. First, he blamed it on the pinup girl. Yeah. This man said from day one he wasn't attracted to the makeup and the pinup girl look. But later on in the episode, he explains how, of course, I can see a pinup girl or a beautiful woman and be turned on. What is it? What is it? This man is very much giving me that, like, he's for everybody and nobody. And it's like, Krysten's not a bad looking woman at all. She could pull. She's not a bad looking woman at all. But Mitch? I can't stand people like this. I can't stand people like this. Be the main ones talking about, I'm not attracted to you physically, but I'm still in it. Why did that even have to be discussed? Yes, Brittany, he was attracted to her mom that was dolled up. I'm just like, what? Now, y'all, what makes the cause even worse is after he talks to his brother about not being attracted to her, he's crying. I've never felt pressure like this before. She's an amazing girl, but I'm not physically attracted to her, but I want to put my peen in her. So after he talks to his brother, he's like, I gotta tell her. They go to dinner. And when they go to dinner, he says, there's no easy way for me to say this. You're an amazing person, but the attraction's just not there. And Krysten says, I can tell when you look at me that you're attracted to me. And he didn't say no, but he basically said no. He said, well, listen, I'm just not attracted. Of course I can be attracted. That's when he made the pinup girl comment. And she says, well, you know what? I'm not going to convince you that you're attracted to me. And I'm fearful that if I continue to ask you questions, it's just going to make me feel worse about myself. And I'm glad that you stopped asking questions, Krysten, because somebody like me would give no fucks. If this man who looked like this was telling me that he was not attracted to me, I would give no fucks. You were doing me a favor. So he says, yeah, I'm still in this. Thank you, Black Tornado. I'm still in this. I'm very much in this. I don't want you to think that. And y'all, anytime somebody says that, they're never in it. They're never in it. Anytime somebody says, I'm still in this, after telling you something bad, they're usually 1 foot out the door, but the rest of their body is in the house. So they be ready to leave. They be all ready. What he's doing is he's still living out of his suitcase. You know how you go somewhere for maybe a week and it's like, should I put my stuff in the drawer or should I put it in the bag? I'm going to keep it in the bag. Mitch's stuff is still very much in his reusable tote because he's environmentally friendly and he's ready to go. So he's like, okay, well, can I offer you more champagne? And she says, fuck it. Give me some champagne. Now, y'all, it gets worse. We're going to come back to Krysten and Mitch, okay? It gets worse. We're going to end with them. But before we end with Krysten and Mitch, the couples go on a group date. And I don't have a group picture. But whenever the couples go on a group date, they see some whales. Cool. We see Morgan and Binh and Alexis and Justin, and they're sitting down. And can somebody tell? I had to Google because Alexis and Justin really had me second guessing myself. They have been saying celibate, like that's the real word. She's like, oh, well, he's celibate. And I was like, am I tripping? I've always thought that it's been celibate. I was like, let me look it up. It's celibate. Okay? Let me take a drink for every time they say celibate, because they've been saying it since episode 1. When she tackily leaned over during the wedding dance and yelled to all her bridesmaids while all the guests of the wedding was there and said, he's celibate. Let me take a sip of this wine. Okay. So they talk about that. And Justin says, well, he says, yeah, I am. But it's not always going to be that way because whenever it happens, it's going to be a regular thing. Y'all, I'm going to be all the way real with y'all. Do y'all want me to be all the way real with y'all? It's been on my heart. It's been on my heart to say this. Something about Justin. I told y'all how insecure he is. Something about Justin is telling me that he's extremely insecure. J-Dub says, we friends. We friends, right? We friends, right? Yes, Brittany. He doesn't have BDE. He has LDE. And Justin is love bombing her before he decides to have sex with her. Because I have a feeling that Justin has been disappointing in his previous relationships when it comes to the bedroom. And I feel like Justin is trying to hold out, not because he doesn't want to have sex, but he's holding out because he wants to trap her emotionally. Because one thing that a lot of women will do is a lot of women will stick around for bad peen as long as they get an emotional fulfillment, because y'all know they got the rose toys and everything else. They got everything else. And I feel like he's trying to love bomb her and trap her emotionally. So whenever he disappoints her with the sex, potentially, I don't know this man from a damn can of paint, he can feel confident that she's not going to go anywhere. And that's just my point of view, which is why he talks about sex in order to get her excited. Like, they keep showing a preview for next week, and he says, my dick was hard as a rock. Oh, a lot of girls want to know what a 6'8" look like. It's not giving BDE. It's not giving BDE. So I think that's what he's up to. So let me move on. Yes, Saintly Iconic. I think that he's love bombing her until he has her emotionally hooked. Right. So next, y'all, we see the women sitting down. And when the women are sitting down, they start talking about their last names. Stacia says that she's absolutely changing her last name because she doesn't even know her father. She has no connection to her father. And every time she writes her name down, she feels like, I have no connection to this. Thank you, J-Dub. You do. She feels like she has no connection to the last name. So she says that she's definitely taking on Nate's last name. And when she does, she will be a Barnes for life. And I was thinking to myself, girl, all that sound good now. She even said if they break up, she's still keeping his last name. All that sounds good now. But if you don't have, I've seen women do this who have children with men and then they get a divorce and you want the same last name as your kids. That's one thing. But something is telling me that Nate is going to do something, Stacia, that's going to make you want to forget about him. And then you probably gonna want your daddy last name back. I really feel like that's what it is. So next, y'all, she says she's keeping Nate's last name for life. Alexis responds and she says, well, my situation is a little bit different because I know my father. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I actually know my father. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. Stacia starts crying. And Stacia's like, it's fine. It has nothing to do with how you said it. It has everything to do with me. It's nothing you could have done. So Alexa says, I know my father, but I don't have a connection to him, which is why I'm going to change my last name. So we go on from that scene. And I honestly, y'all, even though I'm mocking Alexis, I think Alexis was genuine whenever she said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. I think she was genuine. So now we go on and we see the parallels between the two groups. So let me move on to what the men are talking about, and then I'll tell y'all about the parallels. So the men are having a conversation, and Justin's like, so I told her I love her. I told her I love her. And he's so in love, that type of love where you be on the phone after 9 p.m. because that's when your minutes is free. And then you be on the phone till 3 o'clock in the morning, and you go from hanging off the bed upside down to hanging with your feet on the wall to sitting crisscross applesauce to putting one leg up, one leg down, all them different type of positions. That's how in love he is with her. Even when he talks about her, he's just, let me not say in love, that's how obsessed he is with her. Let's get this right. So the men are immediately just like, what? Miguel says, what? And they try to be respectful, even though this nigga sound crazy as fuck. This man sound crazy as fuck, but don't nobody want to say it. So they're like, well, I think that's great as long as you're being honest. You're not making her say it back to you. I think that's great. And Nate comes to the confessional and Nate says, I think Justin is just impressed with the match. I think that Justin is just excited. And I'm like, Nate, you are exactly right. That's exactly what it is. So Justin just says, I thought everything was a dream. That just wouldn't happen for me. This is stuff that rich people do. Riding horses on the beach. I never thought I was going to be able to do this. This isn't a romance novel, Justin. This is real life. And I have to keep talking like this whenever I talk about Justin, because there's something that is very alarming about Justin to me in the way that he's obsessing over his new wife. I have to keep talking like this. So they end up talking. They're asking Ben, so how is it? You're the newcomer. Do you see yourself falling in love with Morgan? And he says, yeah, I can see myself falling in love with Morgan. She gives good massages. And he says, but there are some things that he wants to talk to her about, such as her not really wanting to have kids unless she's with the right person. They keep leaving that part off. Unless she's with the right person. It's nothing wrong with Morgan not wanting to have kids unless she's with the right person. Can't be having kids with everybody. Okay? And a lot of people are a product of that. Can't be having kids with everybody. So now we'll go to talking about the parallels. Let's jump back over to what the women are talking about. So Lindy says that they haven't had sex. They're just testing the waters, which is what I told y'all. Y'all do a whole lot of other things, which is a form of sex. Okay? It's a form of sex. J-Dub says Morgan don't want kids. I don't think Morgan doesn't want kids. I think Morgan wants kids. I think Morgan has been through a lot of emotional trauma when it comes to her upbringing that's making her timid about having kids. But if she's with the right person that could solve a lot of the trauma that she has with her father in the way that she feels about men and relationships, and I think that she'll be willing to have kids of her own. So Lindy says they're testing the waters, right? We had already talked about that. Stacia and Nate, they're like, well, what's going on with you guys? I've seen all the chemistry. Yeah. Haven't you seen all the chemistry with Stacia and Nate? Oh my gosh, you guys are so hot. And Stacia's blushing, and the confessional jumps to Nate, where Nate says, we haven't had sex yet, but I feel like we're going to have sex before the honeymoon is over. And he's right. I think he's going to have sex. I think they're going to have sex before the honeymoon is over. I think he's right. And the unfortunate part is, if they do, I don't think that Stacia would have given him enough time or space to see what he's like in real life and how he operates in real life when he has access to his friends with benefits. So next, y'all, we see Krysten. And Krysten is telling the women, they're like, what's going on with you? I know something's wrong. And she's like, you guys, I just want to wait until the men aren't here and we'll have a conversation. And when I tell you guys what's been going on with me and Mitch, you are going to be shooketh. And she's right. They will be, and we'll get to that. So Mitch is saying in his confessional, I feel like Krysten and me and Binh and Morgan we're pretty much the wild cards. Mitch, stop trying to find somebody to get along with your shenanigans. Nobody here is on the bullshit that you're on quite yet. Okay? Y'all are on different wavelengths of bullshit, but nobody is on the same bullshit as you are right now, Mitch. They're all on different bullshit. So I feel like Mitch is just projecting and trying to feel okay about being the rebel that he is. So Mitch, he ends up telling the guys, and I was completely disgusted by this, y'all. I told y'all things were going to turn up and that the women were going to be shooketh. Well, this is why. Remember earlier in the review, if y'all haven't watched the episode, we talked about how he told her that he wasn't attracted to her, but then he offered her some champagne. Well, he's talking to the guys and he's like, well, you know, haven't had the biggest form of attraction when it came to Krysten yet, but, you know, had some tequila last night, cuddled up, and, you know, I was fired up. This man said he was fired up after having some tequila. So you sat there and you told other men that you're not attracted to your wife, but if you had enough tequila, you were fired enough to have sex with her. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted. Mitch. My goodness. So moving on to the final scene, y'all. We see Krysten and Mitch. And, you know, she's like, last night was great. Last night was great, but I'm going to need a little bit more, you know, affirmation from you. He tried to have sex with her right after he told her he wasn't attracted to her. Chris, season 12, Atlanta. Why? Why? Men like that disgust me. Men like that disgust me. Because how is it that you get fired up enough to have sex with someone who you're not even really attracted to? But then I actually just saw a post on Instagram the other day, and they said it's actually quite common for men to have sex with women they aren't attracted to. And now that I think about it, I'm not really surprised by that. That's where the term sneaky link comes from. And women try to take that term and flip it and turn it into female empowerment so we can be dogs and city girls too, the way that men are being fuckboys to us. But in reality, I feel like men like that are disgusting. And there are plenty of men like that who have sex with women that they aren't attracted to. Gross. So anyway, he says, you know, I couldn't help it. I'm a guy. You know, I got turned on. And Krysten didn't think that it was the best time for them to have sex, especially after he just said that he wasn't attracted to her anymore, right? Yeah, you're right, J-Dub. It is. That disgusts me. It just disgusts me. It does. I just don't understand how you can lower your standards to have sex with like a thing. I can't. And when I say a thing, I don't mean that she's a thing. I mean that any man who doesn't have standards, or a woman for who they'll sleep with as long as it's a what? Like as long as it's a damn box. Yeah, no. Something about this man ain't right. So Krysten tells him she didn't feel comfortable, you know, busting it wide open that early, especially after he already said that he wasn't attracted to her. She needs to see other strides come from him. And she says that if she doesn't have sex with him within 8 weeks or get an I love you, she wants a divorce. Now, y'all, let's think about this. Krysten, you said if you don't have sex or get an I love you before the end of the 8 weeks, she wants a divorce. I think we can all easily guess what will come before an I love you. And that will be you busting it wide open or bending it over, because he probably will not be looking at you in the face. That's not saying you're bad looking. That's just based on what he's told us. So I don't think that those are good standards to hold your relationship to, Krysten, because this man is more than willing to have sex. This man just isn't attracted to you. And he doesn't even know if this is just an 8-week process or not. So I don't think that those are good standards. And I don't want you to start compromising for a man who doesn't make that much money, isn't really that attractive, can be an asshole, doesn't think you're attractive. I don't think it's worth you compromising that much. You're already compromising a lot, in my opinion. The man don't make no money. The man wants your mama. He don't want you. The man won't let you use plastic ever. So I don't think that you should start compromising and giving him these standards. So yeah. And I hate to see it because Krysten does have a history of messing with guys who need to be fixed. So y'all, I think that's all I got for this episode, okay? I gave y'all 2 hours of the show in about 56 minutes, y'all. I am going to try to be committed to putting this out on Thursdays. Sometimes we might even do like a lunchtime live. I did a lunchtime live the other day. Now, if you stick around or if you go to my community wall, look in the description of this video after it is posted, or either look on my community wall. I started a texting community type thing where if you send a text message to, let me find the phone number. Of course, it's going to be posted, but if you send a text message to 833-676-4055, if you send the text alert, I'll be able to text you every time I go live, because sometimes YouTube doesn't send the notifications, and other times, I don't be posting the same schedule. So y'all, that's all I have for today. I'm going to come back to y'all probably Monday to talk about Ready to Love as well as Bell Collective episodes 1 and 2. And then I'll also be talking about Married to Medicine and Real Housewives of Atlanta. So on Monday, you will have 4 shows for us to get to, okay? I hope y'all really enjoyed this review. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to make sure you become a part of #Necey Hive, okay? We friends here. And with that being said, y'all, I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.